Hey y'all, welcome back to Mountain Murders Midweek. I'm Heather.
And I'm Dylan.
It's October, and you know what that means, Dylan.
I'm going to get scared.
Scary stuff is afoot. Yes, all month long, our midweek episodes will be dedicated to horror movies. But there's a little extra, Dylan. It's not just any horror movie. It's horror movies that are based on true stories.
Oh, that's the best kind.
Or that draw their inspiration from a true story.
Very loosely inspired by true stories.
Yes, but before we get started, we had quite an interesting experience the other day, and we felt like we should share it with you guys.
Yeah, and it kind of goes along with the theme.
Well, Rocky Horror Picture Show is one of my all-time faves. I have a Rocky Horror tattoo. I've starred in the play, in the stage show. Actually, more than one. I've been in 2 different productions of like a stage show of Rocky Horror.
Nice.
And I've seen Rocky Horror just about every way you can imagine.
Yeah, I mean, I know I've personally seen the movie probably 30 times plus, but I have not had that much experience seeing it live. And you described to me almost every way I could imagine seeing it. People acting it out, you know, the audience participation.
The live play.
You know, all what people
the
holler,
lines,
scream at this, you know, the extra stuff that only the people in the know.
This man has no neck.
Yeah, things like that. And so, you're a bit of a Rocky Horror aficionado. So it would be hard to top your Rocky Horror experience.
I'm a true Frankie fan.
But I believe that I don't know that we topped all your other experiences, but we certainly added a new element.
We sure did, Dylan. And it's the 50th anniversary of the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Which is kind of crazy.
It is kind of crazy, right? I mean, the fact that it's got such a cult following even all these years later. I see that it's playing at a theater in a nearby city. So I'm like, we should get tickets and go see this in the theater. You know, it's the 50th anniversary. And it was described as being in 4DX, which I had no idea what that meant. We get to the theater, and the first thing we notice, the chairs are a little strange.
Yes.
They're new chairs, which is nice because our local theater has horribly old chairs that make your ass hurt and your back hurt when you sit on them for like 2 hours, right?
Right.
I'd be like, my neck, my back, everything aches when I leave the movie theater.
Well, no, whether the degree we want to see a movie is how much we want to go through being uncomfortable. That's what the seats are like in this kind of older theater.
It's true. So we're like, okay, these seats are a little strange. They're kind of oddly shaped, and your feet don't touch the ground.
Yeah, you kind of climb up into it.
Right. The fabric was a little weird. And then I noticed a button that says water on, water off.
So I saw the same thing, and I'm like, is this like a massaging chair? Does this like cool your
you said
drink
you thought
holder?
maybe it was something to keep your drink cold.
Yeah, I was like, okay, this is kind of weird. So, and we're still just like have no idea what's about to happen.
Just before the movie starts, it's like a welcome, like an introduction. It's like an intro to 4DX, and all of a sudden, just out of nowhere, dude, our chairs start rumbling. They're moving around like we're on a roller coaster.
Yes, they're tilting forward. They're lurching side to side. There's air blowing like fans. There's flashes like lightning.
And all of a sudden, then I just get spooged in the face with water.
And then it starts raining on us. Our seats are finishing on our face, apparently.
Yeah.
And there's water, and we're just like, what in the hell is going on? So, long story short, this is basically one of those immersive sensory experiences.
Oh, it was an experience.
And so we're like, okay.
So we're not the only ones, because other folks in the theater, I don't think they had an idea of what was coming, because I could hear people like, oh God, what the hell? You know, everybody's freaking out.
Right.
Once the chairs start like spinning around, right? It was a novelty. I mean, I appreciated the novelty, but I gave it it was okay for about 20 minutes.
Right.
And then I was like over it.
Right. And then, but then you had the rest of the movie.
Yeah.
So to set like if it's raining in the movie or the wind's blowing, which I thought was kind of the coolest element, and lightning striking, you kind of had a
light over at the Frankenstein place.
You had an in-room experience that kind of outside the screen that was kind of a cool element.
No, it was cool.
Right.
I mean, don't get me wrong, and I'm probably just an old fuddy-duddy at this point. But, all that jerking and, like, I was starting to feel like a little motion sickness or something. And then the smell from, like, the fog machine. I'm not really sure.
No, there was a very significant, noticeable chemical
like
smell.
odor, yeah.
I would liken it to if you've ever been around a fog machine in an enclosed building or room. After a minute, it kind of gets old. It smells very unnatural and chemically. And I actually felt like I smelled like that after I left the place.
Right. It was kind of making me feel stuffy, like it was playing with my sinuses. And,
so,
yeah.
If you see a movie that's playing in 4DX, and some people may be laughing at us like, oh, we know what this is. Ha, ha, ha. We had no idea. We thought maybe it was like an RFX theater with the, amplified sound system or something of that nature. But no, it's totally different. And I could not imagine watching like Jurassic Park or John Wick.
You said like a John Wick movie.
An action movie in this, because the little bit of action in Rocky Horror, which, I mean,
there's not a ton of action.
There's not a ton of action. I also felt like they were reaching, trying to like make this
incorporate the technology
with Rocky
into
Horror.
The movie. Yeah.
Very much so. So anyway.
Well, yeah, so it's horror movie season. I don't know if you consider Rocky Horror really a true horror movie. It's got the horror, the sci-fi elements. It's just a wacky, zany film, right? Musical.
I have to say, some people
folk dancing
would argue
charming underclothes,
that this is one of the original midnight cult classics.
Of course.
That really found, probably had a bit of a splash when it came out. It was different. It was, in many ways, pushing the envelope, I think. But
a little taboo,
but I think a lot of people thought it was weird or this and that. And but it truly gained fans and a true cult following in the midnight showings that became so popular in the 70s.
Worldwide, man.
Yeah, worldwide.
All right, Dylan, are you ready to get into today's horror movie? We are discussing Jennifer's Body. Now, Dylan, you are not a huge fan of this film.
No.
You think it's ridiculous.
No, I saw this in the movies, dude.
You went to the theater to see this film.
Yes.
Okay.
I saw Jennifer's Body in the movies.
Yeah, I bet you was looking at Jennifer's Body in the movies.
Well, see, that was the thing. Even though I was not the biggest Megan Fox fan, honestly, the whole time everybody's like, oh my God, Megan Fox, she's so hot. Because she can't act a lick. She really can't act at all. She's not a good actor. And, but then you don't even get to see, because like only one thing can save this movie experience. You don't get to see Jennifer's body.
You don't?
There's no nudity.
Oh, well, that's too bad for you. I mean, I thought this movie was pretty mid.
Okay.
I mean, it's like a fun horror film. It's not something I'm going to rewatch.
Right.
Like annually. But, if I haven't seen it for a few years, I might pop it on just to be like, oh, yeah, okay. Yeah, I think it's fine.
Well, maybe honestly, I didn't get a chance to rewatch that before this episode. So maybe I need to give it another try.
I mean, I'm not going to say it's not a cult classic for me. It's not in my top 10 all-time favorite horror films.
Right.
But I mean, I can appreciate it for what it is, and it's fine.
No, and honestly, I don't think I realized at the time that this was indeed loosely inspired by true events. So I'm very, very excited to hear the backstory on that.
Absolutely. Let's get started. Jennifer's Body was written by Diablo Cody and directed by Karen Kusama. So you have two female contributors, right, for this film. Female director, female writer. It was released in 2009. Diablo Cody was fresh off her Oscar win for writing the Juno script.
Oh, wow.
Which I like that movie. I thought it was funny. It was cute.
Yeah, I think that was a really kind of one of those
quirky,
indie movies that really, I think a lot of times nowadays and after things like Juno, Napoleon Dynamite, you see people trying really hard, or Garden State, something like that. You see people trying to be the quirky indie movie, but that's not how it works. You just do this little movie, a passion project, Everybody's on board to trying to do something different, something that feels fresh, and it becomes a quirky indie movie. You know what I mean?
Right. I mean, everybody loved Juno. She was like kind of snarky. She had great comebacks. She was funny. I'm a big Michael Cera fan.
Right.
I'll admit, I do love me some Michael Cera. So, yeah, it was a movie I enjoyed. I liked it a lot.
So fresh off of a surprise hit, right?
Yeah.
Much acclaim. So
Yeah,
then
Diablo Cody just kind of came out of nowhere.
Okay.
She has an interesting background, Dylan. She was, I mean, I think she has a degree in like journalism or writing, something like that. But she worked as a stripper. She's from, I believe, Minneapolis. And she worked as a stripper in Minneapolis. And she's like, I'm not at all like what you would consider the stripper type, you know. But she got this job because she was, you know, kind of struggling to make ends meet after college. And ended up writing a book. And I think it's called Candy Girl, if I recall. I've read it. It's been years ago. But she wrote this book about her experience as a stripper. And kind of like not being the classic, like what you might think of a classic stripper. Like she didn't have a dance background. What didn't really fit the mold at the time of what strippers look like. She kind of had the alt thing going on.
Okay.
And this was like kind of maybe pre-Suicide Girls days, like late 90s, you know, when like the alt chicks, that wasn't really mainstream like it is today.
So she was kind of ahead of her time in many ways.
Right. So she wrote that book and, you know, it was celebrated, I guess you could say, in some circles. So, you know, she had a little bit of clout and then wrote this movie script, but she kind of came out of nowhere, right? I mean, she's not like Hollywood pedigree. She's not a Nepo baby. She was like a newcomer.
Right.
So, yeah, she writes the script for Juno. It is wildly successful. And so she gets the second film, Jennifer's Body. And although it's a horror film, Jennifer's Body is nuanced. It's kind of a take on female friendships, particularly during adolescence. So if you really want to like dive into the film, I think there are more themes going on than it's just your standard horror movie.
Right.
And I think a lot of female-centric horror films do have kind of underlying themes. The story centers on two girls who are unlikely friends. You have Needy. Her name is Anita, but Needy is like, I guess, her nickname, played by Amanda Seyfried. And Jennifer is played by Megan Fox. And these two girls are navigating the difficulties of high school, relationships, sexuality, and empowerment.
You know, I think my problem, well, from one, I kind of, in a very lame male point of view way, broke this movie down, or my takeaway from this movie. And honestly, I think I missed a lot of the nuances. Or I think maybe
you said some words, I'm a man.
Right.
And I think a lot of times nuances just go over your heads. Not to disparage men, but
I think I just had the wrong, you know, sometimes
on,
when you know very little about a movie, you just are the wrong kind of expectations of what the movie's going to be.
Okay.
Right.
I get that. Well, you know, Dylan, I mean, I always look at films from, I guess, a certain perspective. I studied film. I've always been a movie buff. I appreciate, you know, the craft of filmmaking, all the elements and symbolism, underlying themes in films, that kind of thing. And I think not everybody watches a movie with all of that in mind, like this checklist. You watch movies to be entertained, to just enjoy the film, to the fantasy of the film or whatever. So not everybody is like I guess a critical movie watcher.
No, that's true. Now, you have broadened my horizons with things like what happened to Baby Jane and these movies. There's great movies, you know, really incredible, well-crafted, well-written, great characters, you know, perfectly performed. And so you have opened my eyes kind of to some of those things in movies.
Well, the movie is narrated by Needy and told from her perspective. We learn that Needy is involuntarily committed to a mental institution.
A menstrual institution?
Maybe I need to be committed to a menstrual intuition. I don't know. For some reason, those words escape me today. Mental institution.
Okay.
She is institutionalized, where she is considered a violent, like dangerous patient. So that's how the story begins. We get Needy in this mental hospital and she's going to tell you a story. And I'm immediately kind of picking up Great Gatsby vibes.
Okay.
Because the story opens much the same. You have a character that's been hospitalized, institutionalized. They're telling the story. I don't know if Diablo Cody kind of did that intentionally, like as a nod to the Great Gatsby or, whatever. But we get Needy. She's in a mental hospital, and we see her thrown into solitary confinement. And that's when Needy starts telling the story of what happened a few months earlier. Now, Jennifer is her best friend, and she's a beautiful, popular cheerleader in the town of Devil's Kettle, Minnesota.
Nice.
So we already have this rock and roll town name.
Devil's Kettle.
Where are you from? I'm from the Devil's Kettle.
I was born in a devil's kettle.
Get back in your old devil's kettle. Okay, so she's well aware of her physical assets and isn't afraid to use those to get what she wants. She's flirty. She's flaunting it, which, my granny always said, if you got it, flaunt it.
Right.
Right?
Shake that moneymaker.
Hell yeah. She's confident, sarcastic, a little cynical. Needy is what we would call maybe like the classic wingman or like wingwoman character. She's considered a little nerdy, straight-laced compared to her more adventurous best friend. Jennifer invites Needy to a local music venue to hear an out-of-town band. She has her sights set on the lead singer. Needy agrees to join Jennifer at Melody Lane, which is this sort of shitty dive bar music venue.
Oh my gosh. Would you go see a show at Melody Lane?
You know me, I'll go anywhere.
Well, that's true.
I'll go to the Dewdrop Inn. I'll go to Libby's.
Okay.
I'll go wherever.
You'll go wherever the show's at.
I'll go to the VFW. I don't give a fuck.
Dude, I've seen some really good acts at a VFW or a Moose Lodge.
I mean, hell yeah, you go party at the Moose.
Yeah, cheap drinks.
Absolutely, Dylan. So I'm not picky. I don't discriminate. I actually prefer a dive bar to like a shishi, bougie cocktail bar.
Now, once again,
I don't need, lavender on ice, or, lavender flavored ice for my cocktail.
no, once again, an authentic dive bar, not one that sets out its grand opening as a dive bar. That's just not how it works with dive bars.
No, man, I want a jukebox that's got like all the Hank songs on it. I want this place to maybe has questionable cleanliness.
Oh yeah, it's got to be just a little, I say,
it's probably not been wiped down for a while. Everything's sticky.
a little bit sticky. Questionable patrons who you may or may not be safe the entire time you're there. But what's funny about a real authentic dive bar like that, once you become kind of a regular there and are accepted in kind of into the clique or the crowd, you have the best
You have
times.
it made.
You have it made.
The bartender hooks you up when they recognize you as a regular, if
Yeah.
you will. They start to hook you up with drinks.
Strong, cheap drinks.
They know you're a good tipper. It's kind of like where everybody knows your name.
Exactly.
People high five. Oh, hey, bud, I'm glad to see you here.
Yeah,
You gonna sing some Okie for us tonight, Dylan?
Well, yeah, people you don't know their name. You've never actually had a full-on conversation.
You have like a nickname for them?
You still, yeah.
Like Charles Manson wearing the coonskin cap.
Yeah, coonskin cap guy.
Yeah. So there is, we're not even kidding when we say this. There's a guy, and we've seen him at like several dive bars around our town.
He's a dive bar fixture.
He is a fixture. So we've seen him in a couple of different places, and he's always wearing a coonskin cap, which props to him. But he also looks like Charles Manson wearing a coonskin cap.
I think he looks like if Charles Manson and Walter White, full-on bald head, had a baby. That's what I think he looks exactly like.
But he's not bald.
Well, no, he's not. But I'm just saying, something about his face.
It reminds you of Walter White.
And Manson
every time
at the
I see
same
him,
time.
I think this dude looks just like Manson. And if he had a cult, I might have to go like to a meeting because I just dig his look, right?
You're going to let Manson MK Ultra you?
Well, I'm probably going to wear my coonskin cap too because I have one and I don't wear it that often.
So you're going to be twinsies.
But I might just wear, yeah.
Yeah, I think a guy in a coonskin cap or gal is going to take offense to someone else trying to be the coonskin cap person, right?
I'm going to fight him for coonskin cap, like, supremacy.
Okay.
I'm going to dominate. I'm going to be the only one in a coonskin cap from now on. Take that, Charles Manson. So Jennifer uses her feminine wiles to attract the lead singer of the band. His name is Nikolai. He's played by Adam Brody. She orders him a special drink, which is called the 9/11 Tribute Shooter.
Okay.
Very odd. Though she's underage, she's able to procure this drink for him. Nikolai is a bit of a knucklehead from some other small town. But for whatever reason, he thinks he's super cool because he's a singer in a band and brags that, our band's from Brooklyn.
Oh, wow.
But, he's just some dope from middle America who moved to New York. And so he thinks that's impressive to other small towners.
Well, no, but that's true. And people really ride that.
Well, they do. And I'm just like, cool. I mean, it's cool. You moved to New York, but that's the same for me as like saying I moved to Ohio or I moved to like Connecticut. I'm just like, okay. But for whatever reason, people who move to New York City really think they're doing something.
Well, I think that's true for like New York City or like LA.
LA, yeah.
Yeah, it's like a big deal. Just because they were...
Okay, I mean, if you want to go ride a pissy subway where you may or may not get stabbed and pay $4,000 for a 6th floor walk up, I mean, good for you.
Well, I'm sure there's pros and cons to being in a big city like that. But it's funny when people who aren't from that city move there and in like a month or two, they have like this attitude.
They act like, yeah.
Right.
And I think we've all seen that, right? So here we've got this like ultra hip singer. He's from Brooklyn. He's too cool for school. And though he flirts with Jennifer, the viewers hear him make some unflattering comments about her, like to his bandmates, kind of inferring that she's a groupie and like, oh, she's just here to offer up her virginity.
Ugh.
She's just trying to get dicked down by me, the lead singer from Brooklyn, tonight.
So he's a bit of a dick.
Well, yeah, I guess you could say that. During the set, we see Jennifer squeeze Needy's hand to the point that she even like kind of leaves red marks on her hand. Like she's super excited to be in the presence of this band. But then suddenly a fire mysteriously breaks out in the rafters of the club. Needy pulls Jennifer to safety. They're able to escape through the bathroom. Everyone is running out of the venue, screaming. Fire's engulfing the building, so we kind of see this chaos unfolding. Jennifer seems a bit out of it. And while they're in the parking lot trying to escape, the girls bump into Nikolai, and he offers them safety in the band's van.
Okay.
Come inside, girls. I have free candy.
Yes, come inside the van and see what I can offer you.
Yeah, come inside the van and see what's going to happen to my biggest fan. I don't know. But he invites them into the van. Needy declines this offer. She realizes it's like you don't get into a creeper van. But Jennifer willingly goes. Again, she's sort of starstruck. Got the hots for the lead singer.
Right. She's hot for the guy and she's throwing her better judgment aside.
Nikolai offers her a drink. While, she sits down in the van, he's offering her a drink. And that's when we see Needy kind of like watch her friend leave in this van. And she shares that she has a really bad feeling that something awful is about to happen. I mean, like the fire wasn't awful enough.
Right. It's like you're at a White Stripes concert.
You mean White Snake?
Well, yeah, that one too. A White Snake concert.
Yeah, that was White Snake, honey. Now, something does happen. We learn through a flashback, kind of within a flashback later, that Jennifer is violently abused by the bandmates.
So he gets this attractive woman in there who's obviously into him. And like your next thought is you all should just abuse and beat her.
Well, it seems this band has an idea that if they sacrifice a virgin, that it's going to, like to the devil, it's going to give them fame and power and glory.
Okay, that makes sense, I guess.
They're thinking like the sacrifice is going to make it, like a deal with the devil, like a Robert Johnson type of thing.
Okay.
Right? Now, after the fire, Needy returns home. She's alone because her mother works nights. And we get Jennifer showing up, disheveled, covered in blood, and wounded. She's acting kind of funny, Dylan. like almost like she's in some sort of trance. Her behavior is really unsettling. She doesn't say anything, but Jennifer goes straight into the kitchen and starts devouring a roasted chicken, like just tearing into this chicken, eating. And you just see like meat and sinewy bone, just gross.
Yeah.
It's gross.
Greasy.
Yeah. So after primitively eating this chicken, she chokes, vomits all over the place, and then roars like some kind of animal. I mean, it's not every day your best friend does this.
No, I mean,
My best friend only does this on Thursdays.
at first you're obviously going to be worried, but I mean, at what point are you just like totally freaked out?
Well, yeah, absolutely. Jennifer pukes black blood filled with some kind of gross goo. Of course, Needy is just like horrified, like doesn't know what's happening. Don't see black bloody vomit very often.
No.
I don't think I've ever seen that. So there's that. Now afterwards, she kisses Needy on the neck and leaves. Needy is left wondering, WTF. The next day, Jennifer shows up to class like normal. Everything seems to be okay. Their teacher discusses 8 students who lost their lives the night before in the fire. After class, Needy tells her boyfriend Chip about the strange encounter with Jennifer in the kitchen, but he kind of blows her off, and he suggests that Needy should see the school psychologist. You were at the fire, you're probably traumatized.
So he doesn't give a lot of weight to her description of Jennifer, really. He's more worried about her. Needy.
Yeah, like go get some help, girl. Well, after school, we see Jennifer flirting with a varsity football player named Jonas. She lures him into the woods. The pair undress. And, well, I say she undresses and then she sort of rips his clothes off.
Right.
Very fantastical. Then we see her attack him with what appears to be this, like, fanged mouth. And here's the thing about Jennifer's body. I never quite understood. Is she like a demon? Is she a vampire? Is she a zombie?
Right.
It's kind of left open for interpretation.
Yeah, but you certainly know she's some type of creature.
Yeah.
And that she's...
The fanged mouth gives it away.
And that she's definitely not all right.
Right. Jonas, so he's murdered, right? And this goes unsolved. Jennifer continues preying upon other male classmates. The entire school is in mourning, yet Jennifer seems to carry on as if nothing has happened. This troubles Needy. I mean, she's like feeling the impacts of these, the loss of her classmates, this missing football player. She knows something strange is happening. And Needy also notices Jennifer's increasingly like alarming behavior. And as the killings continue, Needy experiences visions that show her Jennifer is responsible for the deaths of these classmates.
So she's getting a front row seat to all this, right?
Yeah.
And she just knows it's getting worse and worse.
Yeah.
So okay, let me stop you for a second. Is this like a description of like feminism attacking the patriarchy? I mean, does it go?
You could interpret it that way, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I like it.
Yeah, like she's chewing them up, spitting them out. Because some of these guys are not, like, they're portrayed in unsavory ways. Like Jonas, the football player, I mean, it's like he's a dick and whatnot. So while men in the movie only want Jennifer's body, she seeks cannibalistic revenge. And this is where I think it's like a feministic or like feminist movie. I don't know if you say feministic, but feminist movie is that it's like a classic revenge film. I think of like I Spit on Your Grave.
Right. An entire genre of movies.
Yeah. There are these women, like these, I guess you could say pro women. There are these women horror films, revenge films. It's a whole genre where the woman, the female character, is raped or brutalized in some way, and then she comes back with a vengeance, hell-bent on, hunting down her captors or her rapists or torturers, and like picks them off one by one.
Yeah. Now, movies like The Burning Bed, things like that. Would you put that in that category?
I don't think I would put The Burning Bed into that category.
I guess that's more of a domestic violence.
I would say like Pretty Young Thing, the classic I Spit on Your Grave. I mean, there's a lot of these types of movies. There's like an Australian film, I can't think of what it's called, where a woman is brutally assaulted, and then she goes on a killing spree.
There's modern day versions like Becky. Yeah.
What's Becky?
Becky, yeah, it's the same thing. A revenge story.
I don't know who Becky is.
Yeah, we will have to check it out.
I ain't no Becky. All right, so Jennifer's body is based on a real true crime case. And we're going to get into that, Dylan. The murder of Elyse Pahler.
Now, this I had no idea of, so this I'm very interested in.
And I say it's based on a real true crime case. It draws inspiration from this case. Our case begins on July 22nd of 1995. 15-year-old Elyse, who was born 3 days after me, was a freshman at Arroyo Grande High School in California. On this particular evening, Elyse had spent time watching television with her family. The evening had been pleasant by all accounts. Elyse decided she was going to turn in for the night, so she told her parents, I'm going to go to bed. As she's walking into her room, she calls out, I love you guys, going to bed.
Right.
Her parents assume she's going to bed. I think when our kids tell us they're tired and they're going to sleep, we kind of just take their word for it, right?
Yeah, but they could be sneaking out the window.
Well, what they didn't know is that Elyse was piling pillows into the bed, covering them up, kind of, making it look like she's asleep, staging like there's a body under the covers.
Yeah, it's a classic technique.
Classic kid move, teenage move. Did you ever do this?
No, I would be terrified of being found out.
You said your sister would sneak out, though, right?
Yeah, and plus I didn't really want to go anywhere.
Did your sister do something like this?
Yeah, well,
to sneak out, or do you know what her methods were?
I don't know the exact method, but maybe something similar. I think maybe actually one time I'll have to check with my mom that she actually attempted something of that nature.
Okay.
The pillows and just making it look like you're in bed in some form, or just acting real tired, like, oh, it's been such a long day. I'm so pooped. I'm gonna go to bed. Almost being too obvious about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I would have never been sneaking out of the house because that just wasn't me. But two, I never really had a bedroom where I had an opportunity to sneak out of the house, if that makes sense.
Okay.
The first part of my teenage years, I was in a second-story bedroom of this old house. It was pretty high up off the ground.
Be hard to get in and out.
Yeah, I didn't really have any way to get in or out. I didn't have a ladder.
There's no...
if I had dropped out of the window, I probably would have broken a bone.
There's no conveniently placed super sturdy lattice?
No.
Coming down the side of the house?
Like that. There's no tree nearby.
Right.
There's no way I'm getting out this window unless I grow wings and fly out.
And
use
so
my magic carpet.
If you were to get out and down, you'd never get back up.
Right. And then later years, I had a bedroom that was in the downstairs, and there was a sliding glass door where I probably could have made my way out. But my mom had a little dog that barked to everything.
Oh, gosh.
So anytime I opened the door, she was barking.
That's the best security.
So there was no way I was getting past. Her name was Squeaky. There's no way I was going to get past Squeaky because she was a very squeaky dog. She liked to bark. And also my bedroom window was located right underneath my parents, my mom's window.
Nice.
So it's it's kind of hard to sneak out and make a bunch of noise right under their window.
Right. And surely you would be terrified of being found out.
Well, there's that. I didn't want to be beaten within an inch of my life or whatever. Elyse had plans to go out that night. Elyse had French doors in her bedroom, so it seems like she didn't really have any trouble sneaking out. She just opened the door, marched right out. Recently, Elyse had become a bit rebellious. It doesn't seem like she was doing anything too crazy, in my opinion. Sneaking out of the house, I'd say that's kind of fairly common for a lot of kids.
It is, but
I don't think that's it's dangerous, and I don't recommend doing it, but I think a lot of kids do that at some point.
Well, and of course they have no idea how truly dangerous that is. For one, anything could happen, depending on who you're going around or what situations you're getting into. And then the second part of that is if something does happen, your parents, loved ones, friends, everybody has no idea where you are or who you went with.
absolutely.
So
like,
they can do
that's
nothing.
troubling.
They can do nothing to help you.
So like I said, I think a lot of kids did this. Maybe it was just back in the 90s when we were young. I don't know if kids today are still sneaking out. Parents have like Ring cameras, Nest camera, all that. So it might be a little more difficult for kids to sneak out today. Plus, kids today don't seem like they really want to leave the house at all. At least, or maybe that's just our kids.
Well, they don't have to sneak out. They have their phones and they can bring the world into their room.
Yeah, they don't even want to like go anywhere. She had been experimenting with marijuana at school.
Doing like
some alcohol.
Some laboratory tests with the marijuana.
Yes, she was just making sure it didn't have fentanyl in it.
Be like, as you see, it's traveled over to this beaker,
Yes.
this 500
This
milliliter
strain
beaker.
here. No, Dylan. She's taking a toke under the bleachers before PE class. That kind of stuff. You goofy.
Well, see, I always wondered about that because I couldn't imagine. Of course, I didn't try anything till I was a little older and all, but I couldn't imagine being high at school.
No.
And
I never
smell
did that.
and it seems like a very like something I wouldn't want to do.
But I remember kids doing it. Like there were certain spots they would sneak off during certain class periods or go down to the parking lot, get into their car and smoke. I mean,
Get high and then go do English.
it happens. And again, like experimenting with like pot and alcohol, it doesn't seem, in my opinion, like that's just completely unheard of. Is it rebellious? Yes. Is it the worst thing your kids can do? I mean, I don't think it's like out there.
No, and I'm sure people have varying opinions on how bad that is, but it's certainly not out of the ordinary, or you've at least heard of someone doing it, right?
Right, but she did get in trouble at school. School officials contacted her parents to say that Elyse seemed to be under the influence while she was in class. Elyse had smoked weed and drank some alcohol before school that day. Oops, not a good thing. So she was suspended. Her parents, Lisa Ann and Dave Pahler, did not take the situation lightly. They immediately placed Elyse in a drug treatment program. When they tried to address her recent attitude and behavior, she told them everything was fine. Nothing was going on with her. But at that age, Dylan, the last thing teenagers want to do most of the time is have an honest conversation with their parents.
Right.
I remember 15. I would have rather died than tell my parents like anything that was happening in my life.
Well, I think a lot of young people feel that way to a certain degree.
I was definitely like, nothing. I tried to speak as few words to my parents as possible.
I'm fine.
Yeah. Gosh, leave me alone. Up until this point, Elyse had been a really good kid. She was an excellent soccer player, lots of friends, popular. I mean, her parents are thinking, well, she's probably trying to like just kind of figure out who she is. She's testing boundaries. Some kids like to do risky things, to rebel, to feel cool, to try to fit in. Being a good girl or a goody-goody, that could be considered dorky by your classmates.
Right.
There's peer pressure. So I don't really know what was going on with Elyse. Elyse had tried to sneak out before, but had been caught. So the next morning, Lisa Ann and Dave realize their daughter is gone, and she's lied to them. Elyse didn't go to bed. She had stuffed the bed with pillows, and I'm sure by now they're freaking off and probably a little pissed off as well.
Well, yeah,
they're freaking out,
That's one of those deals, and freaking off too, just like Diddy.
Well, maybe, I don't know.
So yeah, it's one of those deals where you're scared and mad at the same time as a parent.
Her parents reach out to police, and of course, law enforcement isn't taking her disappearance too seriously, given her age and recent behavior. They think she's a runaway. And honestly, I mean, I can kind of understand that sentiment a little bit, to be like, well, she's been giving you trouble. She's been using drugs. You put her in drug rehab. Like, she's probably just taken off for the evening or a few days.
Well, yeah, but I mean, that still is not going to stop them from like maybe looking at least in the local area.
Yeah, I mean, I get that. Her parents don't buy the runaway theory. They know their daughter, and although she had recently been a little shit, they knew she was not a runaway. I mean, we all know our kids. They felt something more sinister had happened. Again, I mean, we're parents. We know our kids best.
Right.
We know what they're like. And, a lot of times law enforcement doesn't really take the parents' word for it. But Elyse had a lot of exciting things happening in her life at the time. She was playing soccer. Again, she has a lot of friends. She's really popular. And her family is planning to move to another town. Elyse had been looking forward to this move because she thought Arroyo Grande, the town where they lived, she's like, this place sucks. And it seemed to be kind of one of the big reasons that they wanted to move was to get Elyse into a different school system because, you know, she's been having some trouble making some bad choices, maybe not hanging out with the best people. And she was very outgoing. She didn't have any trouble making new friends. So they knew that a fresh start would be fine for her.
Right. And I'm sure they're hoping that maybe if she's in with the wrong crowd now, maybe she can get some new friends who will motivate her in better ways to kind of get her act together.
Right. And Elyse is the youngest of, she's the oldest. I said youngest. She's the oldest of 4 siblings, and she loved her younger siblings, and there's no way she would leave them. Like, she was a great big sister and really adored her, her siblings. So that was another thing. They're like, she would not take off. She loves these kids too much. Elyse's missing person case made headlines. I mean, again, you got a 15-year-old girl goes missing. It's a big story. Tips and leads start rolling in. Reports say she's been seen in San Luis Obispo, California. Police search that area, but they can't find her. Her family is hopeful because people have claimed to see her, so maybe she's just hiding out. She'll come home.
Well, yeah, they're probably hoping that maybe she'll see herself in papers or on TV and know that this is kind of blown out of proportion and she better just get her butt home.
Elise's grandmother, also named Elyse, it's her namesake, she was named for her grandmother, made a heartfelt plea for her to return home. But then days turn into weeks and then months, and there is no sign of Elyse. Not a good feeling for these folks. 9 months later, there is a bizarre turn of events. A boy named Royce Casey walks into a police station and makes a startling confession. Quote, "I killed Elyse Pahler."
Damn.
Are the words that come out of his mouth.
So here this case is kind of went cold, and I'm sure the investigators at that point were very surprised for him to show up and basically make a full confession.
Royce Casey tells law enforcement everything. He spares no details. Royce explains that he, along with 2 other teenagers, 15-year-old Jacob DeLashmutt and 14-year-old Joseph Fiorella, were also responsible. That the 3 of them had killed Elyse. Okay. These 3 boys have reputations for being like burnouts, kind of losers, outcasts.
Well, that's not a good reputation.
And when I say burnout, I don't mean like they were just smoking weed. They were using meth.
Oh, I thought you were going to say they felt stagnated in their career.
Well, yeah.
And they were just burnt out.
They felt like accounting just wasn't for them anymore. They don't want to be in the finance department doing.
Right. They're like paramedics, high turnover, high burnout rate.
No, they're using meth, and they're 14, 15. That's pretty young.
Well, yeah. I mean,
I don't know a lot about meth, but I assume that's fairly young to get started.
I have to wonder where the hell where kids that age even get meth at.
Well, I don't know, but they do. And it is California in the 90s.
Okay.
It might have been a little, maybe more accessible then.
Well, I mean, it's everywhere now, so I guess it's not that big of a surprise.
Right. These guys had stopped going to school. They spent their days using speed, cocaine, acid, sniffing glue, huffing paint, just like all the gross stuff to get a high.
Damn. It's like cheap drugs there. And that literally is the stuff that will just have you acting like
snorting, canned air.
Like you've killed
all your brain cells.
Millions of brain cells.
The boys would spend a time at a place they called the Pipe of Death. I mean, it's just this like old drainage pipe. But they like to go there and hang out, kick rocks, do the drugs.
Yeah, but the Pipe of Death sounds metal.
Well, I mean, it does. Now, these 3 little edgelords had recently become acquainted with Satan. They were into Satanism.
Okay.
They claim to be members of the Church of Satan. And these idiots had even ordered membership cards at a whopping $100 a piece just so they could like walk around like, I'm a Satanist. Look, I'm a card-carrying member.
Oh my gosh.
Like, you know, like they're in the club. But they're not real Satanists. They completely bastardize the beliefs. I mean, you know, a lot of people, I think, misunderstand Satanism.
Well, yeah, they definitely do.
As a religion, if you will. There's Luciferian Satanists, and that's vastly different from, like, the Church of Satan followers or the Satanic Temple.
Yeah, I mean, the Church of Satan or the Satanic Temple, as far as I know, can basically be considered more of a political affiliation.
And more like atheists or something?
More like atheists, because they truly don't believe in God or the devil in the classical or the traditional form.
Right, like the Satanic Temple is.
It's more, in a nutshell, it's more like, if you get to have freedom of religion, I'm going to say this is my religion and publicly, publicly show my point of view.
Right. And like Anton LaVey's Church of Satan, it's very, if you read the Satanic Bible, it's very like me. I'm put me first, put yourself first, believe in yourself. And they did like rituals and black masses and stuff, but it was definitely more for the flair and presentation, more so than actual acts of like worshiping the devil and believing that like some supernatural creature was going to rise up from hell and like reveal himself to you.
Yeah. It's more for like the shock factor. It's like rich theater kids.
Yeah. I mean, LaVey was like a carnival barker.
Right.
You know, he's a showman. So while these boys are playing Satanist, the three of them become obsessed with this idea that they need to sacrifice a virgin. They talk about it nonstop. I mean, it got to the point that people around them started questioning, like, did they really kill a virgin?
Oh my gosh.
Like, have they done this, you know? Joe Fiorella was more invested in the idea. Like, it was kind of like his thing. He's the one that chattered about it nonstop, really into it, kept kind of pushing this idea that we need to sacrifice a virgin. He had been reading a lot of Aleister Crowley books. He even participated in some of these like rituals. I guess Crowley's weird rituals.
Right.
Which, I don't know. There's a lot of butt stuff in Crowley's weird rituals.
There's a lot of fluids. Butt stuff is a must.
You want to play with some feces and semen. So
if you're not into that, you're not going to get very far. And now these rituals, I think a lot of people don't realize, is not something, a lot of times, what they consider these true rituals is not something you do like in an hour, right?
Right.
Some of these can go over the course of days or even months to go the full through the entire ritual, to do all the things, line everything up to get, I guess, a reward or get some kind of power
right,
from the
Set
ritual.
Some sort of intention with the ritual.
Right.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. These kids are probably like drawing a weird ass sigil and then just like jerking off on it or something.
Well, and this is at the end of the era known as the Satanic Panic. And a lot of things were misunderstood and bastardized by everyone, including people who claim to be Satanists.
Well, now there is this thing that Joe did, Dylan. He participated in this certain ritual where you would like kill a frog, almost crucify a frog, and then eat it.
Okay.
I'm just wondering, did he use an air fryer? Like, whose kitchen is he using to prepare the frog? Are his parents in on this? I don't know. I just think, like, my mother would have been furious if I had sacrificed a frog and then used some of her, like, good, cast iron pan to saute it.
Right.
Right? Is he eating the frog raw? Like, I don't know this information. But, he thinks that somehow by sacrificing a frog and eating it, like, yes, I'm becoming powerful.
So he would make like a tiny cross?
I guess.
To nail the frog to?
It's like a little arts and craft project.
Yeah, it's like some popsicle sticks.
Yes. Now, it seems the boys wanted power, which they believed Satan would provide them. The boys had dreamed of becoming rock stars. So instead of hard work, learning to play instruments and practicing and dedicating themselves, like Metallica did. I mean, they were pretty young when they hit it big, but they were very talented. They spent a lot of years practicing. Practice makes perfect. They didn't want to have to go through all that. So they just thought, well, Satan will make our sucky ass band famous. Like, all of a sudden, if I worship the devil, he's going to give me magic fingers. I'm going to play some, amazing power ballads, and I'm going to be all over MTV.
They'll be the metal version of Robert Johnson.
Exactly. So they have this shitty band, Dylan. It's called Hatred. Along with another kid named Travis Williams, these boys practice Satanism, at least their own odd version of it, like eating frog ass. Hatred was modeled after Slayer, allegedly. We all know Slayer rocks, but these little guys are never going to be Slayer.
I want to start a band called Stinkfist.
I think that's already been started.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I think there's already a band called that, Dylan.
Damn.
They're like a day late and a dollar short.
Stink ass.
Maybe there's a stank ass. You can look that one up. I don't know why you would want to call your band that.
Because it's edgy. It makes people think.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, my first hit off our first LP would be called Smell My Finger. It'd be like, smell my finger. You get it.
I want a divorce. There is something very, very wrong with you.
I don't disagree with that.
If they spilled the blood of a virgin, they will be able to grind their axes better. I mean, this all makes sense to me. I know that I often think if only I were sacrificing frogs, this podcast would be number one on the true crime charts.
Well, if you were allowing a frog, oftentimes known as the Satan's familiar or something like that, you already got a third nipple, right? So you let that frog suckle your teat.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Your third nipple, your little teat.
What if it bit it? I don't want it to bite off my third nipple.
Yeah, what's funny is I don't even think they even put in any kind of study or deep dives into what they were actually trying to copy. And I think a lot of this is just they assume this is how it works.
It's just stupid ass kids, man.
You know what I mean? And it's really a dumb way to go about something.
They schemed to find the perfect virgin. Joe had this idea that the perfect virgin would have blonde hair and blue eyes.
Okay.
Again, I don't know why. Joe already kind of had what has been described as an obsession with Elyse. Joe thought she would be the ultimate sacrifice, a true sin against God, like killing this beautiful blonde, blue-eyed girl.
Okay.
Jacob and Elyse had taken a substance abuse class together. They went to the same school when Jacob would go to school. So I don't know if they were like friendly with each other, but it does seem while they were in the substance abuse class, they kind of got to know each other, or that's kind of what got them talking a little bit. He devises his plan to get Elyse alone. Like, he knew from being in that drug treatment program that Elyse liked to smoke pot. Elyse had been known to hang out with these older boys who would get her high. So Jacob was like, dude, this is what we do. We get some weed and we invite her to smoke with us.
Okay.
And that is how we lure the virgin to the pipe of death.
Hey, virgin, you want to hit this dude?
Yeah, pretty much like that. After chatting and making Elyse feel comfortable, they invited her to smoke pot at the pipe of death where the boys like to hang out. A few times Elyse joined them to smoke weed, and now that they had kind of earned her trust, they made further plans, in this plot, this murder plot. The boys attempted to murder Elyse with a brilliant plan, Dylan, but it failed. Travis Williams, this guy who kind of hung out with them sometimes, they would have him fall down an embankment. And then he thought Elyse would be like, oh, here, let me help you, and try to come pull him up or whatever. And that he would have a knife and get her. But when they tried this plan, Elyse sees the knife and the boys start chanting, do it, do it, do it. And she's just like, huh?
What a stupid plan.
Right. Well, it seems Elyse thought they were joking, like playing some kind of prank on her. She definitely did not take it seriously. I don't know why she continued to hang out with them after this. Maybe she thought they were cool. I mean, they're in a band, they're worshiping Satan. Or like maybe she just thought they were goofy and she could get weed from them.
Yeah, I mean, who knows what was going through her mind, but yeah, it could be she thought that they were edgelords and she wanted to be part of it, or maybe she thought they were ridiculous and just it was.
I can take advantage of these dumbasses.
Yeah, and it was just entertainment.
Get them to buy me weed.
Entertainment on her part to by just being around them.
Right. Elyse had also been described as a very trusting person. I mean, I'm sure she's naive. She's 15. We're all naive at 15. I would say most of us are naive at 15. No young person is thinking like, hey, my new friend group wants to sacrifice me to Satan.
Right. I don't think anybody thinks that, honestly.
Unless they come hang out with us, and then they might wonder.
No, we're not.
Just kidding.
We're not endorsing Satan or worshiping him on this podcast. Even though my wife hisses very well.
I don't know what you're talking about. The day before Elyse went missing, she had been hanging around with another group of friends. Some resources imply that it was a bit of a party. There was like music and a keg. I mean, lots of people. That sounds like a party to me. Jacob attended this party, and while they're there, he tells Elyse that he got some chronic and acid.
Oh, okay.
He got that bubonic chronic that make you choke.
So let's go down that bank again, and this time we're going to have chronic and acid.
He would be happy to share with her. That's when Jacob and Elyse exchange phone numbers. The next evening, Jacob calls Elyse 2 different times. He invites her out, telling her like where they should meet. Elyse knows she's going to have to, she's going to need to sneak out. Like her parents are probably not going to let her go out after dark with this strange boy that they don't know.
Right.
Right? I mean, sounds like you're up to no good.
Like most parents would feel the same way, I'm sure.
Well, yeah. Once Elyse knows the details of where to meet, she tells her parents she's going to bed, and then she goes, stacks all the pillows up. She sneaks out. She meets the boys. Travis Williams did not hang out that night because he'd been arrested for shooting an elderly woman.
My God.
So he's in jail on another murder. Okay. The boys, they smoke weed with Elyse. It was pretty casual. Some reports say they dropped acid. I can't confirm this. Like, I'm not really sure if they smoked weed and dropped acid or if they were just smoking weed. The boys then suggested that they go to a eucalyptus grove to smoke some more pot because, you need to travel around.
Well, yeah. I mean,
we smoked it here, but we should smoke it over there too.
Why would you want to just like relax and hang out in the same spot?
They're like, well, this eucalyptus grove, there's like a field there. It's going to give us more privacy. We can smoke and hang out. We don't have to worry about anyone seeing us.
There's koalas?
Yeah. Yeah. A couple kangaroos in California that might punch you in the face.
Koalas are mean, right?
Yeah, they are.
And people get
but they're so cute.
Well, they think they're cute, but they have like these terrible claws and like a very shitty disposition.
I love it. No wonder I like them so much. Now, out of nowhere, one of the boys pulls Elyse by her hair with such force that she's like knocked to the ground or kind of like thrown to the ground.
Oh my God.
The boys then grab her by the feet and hair and are forcing her onto her back. Jacob takes off his belt, wraps it around her neck, and tries to strangle her. Royce Casey holds her down. Joe pulls out a knife. He stabs it into Elise's throat. Then he passed it around so the other 2 boys could stab her in the throat as well.
Damn, so this poor girl's hanging out with these goobers, having, I guess a good time because she, continues to hang out with them. And just out of nowhere, they attack her like this.
They had even, planned this murder, premeditated this murder to the point that they had chosen this knife and, ordered it.
Oh, my God.
Had it shipped, just in time.
The special dagger.
Yeah.
Probably has, a snake handle.
It did not. I mean, this is terrible. We're kind of making fun of it, but this is a terrible situation.
No, it's horrible. And I can
These guys are a bunch of dipshits.
And I could only imagine what's going through her mind when they start attacking her for real.
Well, what's so sad, Dylan, is that one of the boys will say Elyse was crying out for her mom while this was happening and that she was praying.
Damn.
I mean, that just breaks my heart to think she's calling out for her mom. She wasn't dying fast enough, in their opinion, so they began to stomp her body. After she was dead, the three boys, we'll call them boils because they're basically a big fucking gross boil, they defiled her corpse. Jeez. And I'm not going to go into great detail about what they did to her, but I'm going to guess you can imagine.
Yeah, just unsavory thing. Oh, you've already killed her. I mean, that's terrible in its own. But then desecrating her remains.
Well, I don't even like to talk about necrophilia, but that's been suggested.
Jesus.
Or, yeah. Ew. And there's some evidence to suggest that they went back on multiple occasions to do it again. Like
Jeez.
Days after.
Man.
Okay. In the months after Elise's murder, Royce stopped hanging out with Joe and Jacob. He started going to church. I'm sure he had a guilty conscience, and he felt like he needed to be able to, like, forgive himself. He knew what he had done was wrong. He wants to repent. He would later say that he was being haunted by Elyse. He was having these visions of her, these flashbacks. So, I mean, at least we know this little monster has a soul.
Well, when you have some young people like this, I think it's one of those situations where, when you get certain people together and they get caught up in kind of their own bullshit, and they do something that is in reality very serious and horrible, and they don't understand how. I mean, it's
like the ramifications of what they've done.
Well, yeah, they literally can't live with it, right? You're not.
Well, yeah,
you're not resting, even though you're a piece of shit and you don't deserve to rest. But you can't get over it, right? I mean, I guess you got some PTSD of sorts going on, and some people realize they just can't live with what they've done.
Well, right. I mean, you're fantasizing, you're talking about this, like, oh yeah, that sounds cool. But when it comes down to brass tacks, like, I think people in many of these crime cases get themselves into these situations. And, like, once it's really happening,
right,
they can't even believe it's happening. And then afterwards, they're like, what the fuck did I just do? Like, it kind of hits them all at once. I did this terrible thing.
Well, yeah, because this horrible event's going to involve all your senses. You're going to have sensations and experiences that you probably never had before, smells, things like that. And I'm sure it would be, unless you're just a full-on psychopath, sociopath with absolutely no empathy or feelings or conscience or guilty conscience. And most people aren't that, right?
Yeah. I mean, it seems like Royce Casey is not exactly that. He's feeling remorseful. He's feeling really bad about what he did, guilty. Royce had considered Joe and Jacob might even try to kill him once he stopped being their friend. When he saw a missing poster for Elyse, that's when he decided it was time to go to police and, just tell them everything. Royce Casey first made a confession to a clergyman who urged him, you need to go talk to police. So he's like reaching out, like he wants some help with this. On March 16th of 1996, Royce went to the police to make a full confession. After admitting what he'd done, he took police to the field where they had abandoned Elise's body 8 months earlier.
Damn.
And though her body was badly decomposed, an autopsy would reveal some interesting details. Like, for example, Elyse did not die from the stab wounds. She died from blood loss. Elyse had been stabbed 12 times, she had been strangled, and there was evidence matching Royce's story that they had stomped on her body, like even her neck area. Elyse was likely alive but dying when the three had sexually assaulted her.
That's horrible.
The last moments of this poor girl's life was just hell on earth. And the whole time she's crying out for her mom. I mean, like, just reading... When I was researching and like reading that, it like almost made me cry. Like right now, I feel like it's just so sad.
Well, no, it's so senseless and dumb and horrible and violent all at the same time.
Joe and Jacob were arrested quickly after. The boys didn't deny any of it. As a matter of fact, they admitted that what they had done this and we've been planning it. We premeditated it. Like, This isn't something new. We'd actually spent, weeks planning, ordered a knife, had even tried to kill her one time. It didn't work. We tried to kill her again. Joe took full responsibility for being the idea man. He was like, yeah, it was my idea to kill a virgin. But I mean, the other boys were equally as invested and involved.
Right.
But it's almost like he was proud or wanted to take credit, like he was the ringleader of this. The boys were charged with murder, conspiracy to commit murder, conspiracy to commit rape, and kidnapping. Authorities tried to pursue torture and rape charges, but those eventually were dropped from, I guess, the charges.
Well, they shouldn't have been, because all that certainly happened.
Court records said the murder was one of the worst in San Luis Obispo County. All 3 boys went to trial and each was convicted. They were sentenced to 25 to 26 years in prison. When Casey was asked by the prosecutor why did they commit the murder, he said, quote, "It was to receive power from the devil to help them play guitar better."
Jeez. And they still can't play guitar.
Joe admitted that he was the first to stab Elyse, but denied most of Royce Casey's version of events. He kind of had his own story where, he wants to take credit, but also deny that he was really involved in the murder. You know what I mean?
Well,
because he's a coward.
Yeah, he wants to take credit, but he wants to distance himself, I'm sure, from the worst elements of the crime.
Exactly.
Yeah.
After the murder convictions, the Pahlers filed a lawsuit against the band Slayer, claiming their songs Postmortem and Dead Skin Mask were an instructional guide which led to Elyse's murder. The lawsuit was filed in 1996, but didn't go to court until 2000 after the boys' murder trials. A judge threw the case out of court, basically saying, you can't blame the artists. They're protected by free speech.
Well, and also I think another reason you can't blame the artists in a situation like this is because if there was no Slayer, it would be some other inspiration for these dumbass kids. It would be something, you know what I mean? Once they set their mind to they were going to do this, I think it was inevitable, right? It was going to happen one way or the other.
The Pahlers launched a second lawsuit claiming that Slayer knowingly distributed harmful material to minors. Another judge dismissed this suit, saying that the music was not harmful to minors. And also, who can say definitively, what's harmful, what's obscene?
Right. You get into that whole discussion about the subjective nature of what's obscene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In July of 2016, Royce Casey had his first parole hearing, but was denied release. In December of 2017, Jacob was denied parole, and in October of 2018, Joe Fiorella filed a habeas corpus petition challenging his continued incarceration. He argued that his trial attorney did not challenge his mental fitness for trial back in 1995. Royce and Jacob testified at the 2021 hearing, saying that Joe knew exactly what he was doing at the time of the murder.
Damn.
That he had been with it, he planned it, he knew exactly what he was doing. And despite whatever mental challenges he says he has or faced, he was fully involved in this.
So in no way was he mentally deficient or out of control of his own actions.
Right. Royce Casey was granted parole in March of 2021. Now, during this time, he actually kind of turned his life around. The parole board considered he had 20 years of being considered a model prisoner, good behavior, including completing a series of rehabilitation programs. He earned his GED. He served as a mentor to other inmates and had been working towards a bachelor's degree in psychology. His plans after prison were to relocate to the Los Angeles area and work as a substance abuse counselor. Dave Pahler didn't oppose Royce's release from prison. He thought Royce was suitable for parole and was not really a public risk, a public safety risk at this point.
Right.
Yeah. So they didn't really fight his release from prison.
Well, what do you think in a situation like this? Do you think?
Well, I think it takes a lot of forgiveness, and I don't know if I want to say it takes a big person to. I'm trying to figure out how to say it. I guess it takes a big person to have forgiveness and to be able to know, like, you killed my child, but I'm going to forgive you, and I recognize that you made strides to be better and do better,
Right.
and that when you are released, you want to go out in the world and help people and sort of, pay, like, give back to society, for what you had done, that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, I mean, I truly believe, as I've said before, that forgiveness is for the benefit more so of the families of victims and things like that, so they're not carrying this weight or this hatred with them. But I mean, I admire doing that, but I just don't know if I would be capable of something like that, just letting go of all that. But
well, right. I mean, I think that would be challenging for any of us that had to make that decision. We're not in his shoes. Like, we don't really know what he's going through as a parent. You lose your loved one. I mean, I guess you just never really know. And, they say time heals all wounds, though I don't know if having a child murdered ever really heals or goes away.
But I mean, seeing them get degrees and have these pursuits and try to kind of grow and change and do good things would be hard for me to stomach, just knowing that all that was taken away from my daughter or my family member.
Well, I get that, but I guess you have to look on the other side of it and say, well, this young man has turned his life around. He is sorry for what he did. He's repented. He's served his time. Like, he's paid his dues in prison. And, if anything, my daughter had some impact on him because she was this beautiful, amazing person. And he realizes the absolute tragedy of what he's done,
Right.
travesty of what he's done, really. And can recognize, like, he's taken this life, and so now I need to be somebody better. I mean, I don't know.
Right. Hopefully none of us would ever have to deal with something like that. It's just so terrible. So horrible to lose someone and to know that they went through that horrible, horrific stuff before they passed.
No, it's really terrible. So Delashmut Jacob, that's an interesting last name, Delashmut. He was granted parole from a correctional training facility in Soledad, California, and was released from prison. But then he was, so this was in 2023 that he was granted parole, but then it was overturned by Governor Gavin Newsom. He was granted parole again in May, and Newsom sent it to the full parole board for review in June. And the board upheld the parole, so he was freed from prison in July of 2023.
Wow.
The parole board, as we know, granted Casey's parole. So it seems that Joe Fiorella is the only one that is still incarcerated that I can find.
Okay, so one of the three is still in jail.
Yeah.
Which leads me to believe that they're maybe not showing remorse in as obvious a way, or they're not a model prisoner. They have had other issues, right?
Perhaps. But anyway, this very tragic case, the murder of Elyse Pahler, especially by these three dumbasses who thought they were going to sacrifice her and become rock stars.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just so stupid.
No, it is
Honestly,
so
one
stupid.
of the stupidest, senseless things I've ever heard.
So, interestingly,
it inspired the movie Jennifer's Body.
Yeah, and in a way, you can see the inspiration just from the point of view of it is like a revenge story, right?
Right.
It's almost like, in a weird way, the Jennifer character is given the power
that Elyse never had.
That Elyse never had to do these bad things to other people who may have tried to take advantage of her.
Yeah.
That's pretty wild.
It's interesting for writers just to see where they get their inspiration from, right? Because there are times when I come across a story, even a crime story, and think, wow, that you could really make that into an interesting novel or movie.
Right.
Right. I mean, you draw an inspiration, I guess, from what's all around you.
And honestly, like I said, I did not get a chance to rescreen Jennifer's Body. I'm certainly going to try to do better before our next spooky installment along these lines. But I'm going to rewatch the movie. And I think, because I had no idea that it was based at all on, a real life event. And I think it will certainly change my perspective in watching the movie and not just think it's some, silly kind of almost.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think when you know the story and then see that, okay, this kind of inspired the movie, it does make the movie seem like, okay, well, maybe Jennifer's kind of a badass. She's
Right.
getting revenge. She's taking out these guys who are, just sexual predators and or, only want her body and don't really care about her. I don't know.
They can't hurt her now.
Yeah.
All right. She's the one doling out
The punishments.
the just desserts.
Right.
All right, Heather. Well, thank you for that.
You're welcome.
That's our first installment during this spooky season. And I look forward to our other midweeks. And we'll try to make them more towards the midweek if life allows it. And I can't wait for what's next. Or are you going to tease us which one's up next?
Yeah, I was going to tell you guys, if you want to watch ahead so that you can listen next week, our movie that we will be watching for next week's episode is A Haunting in Connecticut.
Okay.
Or The Haunting in Connecticut.
I don't know that I've ever seen that movie.
I have to say, when I first saw this movie, I mean, now I'm like, okay, maybe it's a little cheesy, but when I first watched it, I was kind of freaked out.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But it is loosely based on a true story, so it'll be fun to talk about.
Okay, I'll certainly have to screen that one. And I cannot wait till the next time. And right quick, I really enjoyed our first installment of the West Memphis 3 deep dive on the Patreon. Hope the patrons are enjoying that. Can't wait for the second part of that to continue the conversation.
Yeah, we'll be getting that released here fairly soon.
Yeah, and look forward to this week's episode. I know Heather has us a great story as usual.
We're going to discuss a serial killer on this upcoming episode. We haven't really talked about like a serial killer in a minute. We haven't discussed a serial killer for a minute.
All right.
And this guy it's like one of those stories where you're like, how the fuck is this guy not like known, like a household name? Because he was fucked up.
Right.
And did horrific things.
Damn,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm like, how is this guy not like a Gacy or something?
Cannot wait for that.
All right, Dylan, until next time. Also, if you have a Halloween-inspired story for us, something you want to share, it can be, a ghost story, some real-life experience, you saw a UFO, some little naked munchkin showed up in your bathroom window and told you the world was coming to an end, whatever.
A weird trick-or-treat experience?
Yeah. You can send us an email to mountainmurderspodcast@gmail.com and become part of our October listener story episode.
Oh, man, I can't wait.
We have gotten some good ones, Dylan.
I love listener.
I'm collecting them, so hopefully we'll have a really good, big, thick, juicy episode.
Ooh.
You just sink your little vampire teeth into it.
I love listener story episodes. Always have such a blast with those.
All right, guys. We'll see you in a couple of days with our weekly episode. Bye, Dylan.
Bye.